Some claim 2024 will mark a pivotal shift in human consciousness, even an end to the world as we know it. But what does the evidence actually suggest? The growing speculation stems largely from the writings of the late Dolores Cannon, a revered hypnotherapist and mystical thinker who garnered international acclaim before her death in 2014. Dolores Cannon was a prolific author and regressive hypnotherapist who published over 17 books on topics spanning reincarnation, extraterrestrials, the theory of multiple dimensions, and the human soul's progression. She garnered a devoted following in spiritual circles before her death in 2014. In her writings, Cannon pointed to the year 2024 as the pinnacle of a global awakening and paradigm shift for humanity. This prediction has generated excitement among New Age teachers and communities, with many believing we are on the cusp of an evolutionary leap in perspective and vibration. Supporters cite perceived increases in synchronicities, signs of impending disclosure of extraterrestrials, and socio-political upheaval as early tremors of the coming Earth shift. However, critics argue there is selection bias in interpreting current events as evidence of a shift. Some skeptics note that Cannon's books themselves admit prediction is unwise. They also highlight the failure of preceding shift predictions, tracing as far back as Mayan calendar prophesies. Given humanity's track record of consistently imagining monumental changes on the horizon, only to end up relatively static, some claim we should be wary of self-aggrandizing future mythologies. Additionally, scientists suggest cognitive biases shape our perception of time as accelerating and the future as climactic. This casts doubt on testimony of time speeding up as proof of a consciousness revolution brewing behind the curtains. While skeptics dismiss enthusiastic 2024 predictions as wishful thinking, for many there are substantive reasons why Cannon's proposed timeline continues to gain traction. Supporters argue the concept of punctuated equilibrium explains why macro change often happens in sudden bursts after long periods of relative stability, built-up tension eventually catalyzing radical transitions. Recent theories posed in quantum physics around simulation argument and parallel universes have entered mainstream conversation. Elon Musk asserts we're most likely living in a simulation, while Nobel laureate Brian Greene argues infinities of alternate realities exist alongside this one. The prospect that reality is not physically real or objectively fixed, as once believed, leads some to speculate accelerated glitches, timeline mergers, or a developer-induced reboot could manifest a radical global shift in a short time horizon. Others argue quantum entanglement of global human consciousness could allow planetary awakening to spread like wildfire. The rapid rise of internet saturation and global connectivity has created conditions for an unprecedented hive mind, a global brain capable of converging around new paradigms en masse. Cybernetics experts highlight the viral-like spread of past internet memes as a microcosm for how new ideas, or old ideas newly rediscovered, could remake societies at lightning pace given the right spark. 2024 theories suggests this spark has been building through recent exponential growth trends. The proliferation of spiritual groups discussing ideas like Ascension, which bears similarity to Dolores' indications of a dimensional uplift in human perception, further fuels support that a critical mass has energetically aligned. Communities centered around texts like The Law of One, Humanity's Team, and Swedenborg's mystical writings boast membership rolls in the millions. Though not explicitly stating 2024 as the shift point, core concepts mirror Cannon's vision of human transcendence into an enlightened state of being. Could so many souls tapping into the same cosmic realms lend metaphysical weight to the 2024 outcome through belief and expectation alone? Regardless of what the external world brings, internally each person's journey through the years ahead will prove uniquely transformative. Thus far, the 2024 prediction remains on track, with many supporters believing early labor pains of the shift are already apparent behind the veil. However, what if the much-heralded date comes and goes without the anticipated revelation or evolution in human consciousness? Make no mistake, the credibility of spiritual teachers resting their legitimacy on the 2024 prophecy would be shaken to the core. The potential failure could severely undermine New Age movements looking to mainstream ancient esoteric concepts at a time when global societies seem ripe for existential paradigm shifts. However, the firmest adherents exhibit masterful cognitive dissonance to safeguard beliefs, a technique likely employed in the event the shift does not occur. As 2024 approaches, some communities seem to be preparing alternative shift models, extending predictions to 2030 or 2032 while retaining the same foundational ideas. Delayed disappointment illustrates the unfalsifiable nature of abstract predictions. And for seekers believing themselves on the cusp of transcendence, the prospect of remaining locked in 3D material awareness with no clear escape route could pose psychological challenges. Potential ramifications may include depression, anxiety, even existential crisis or suicidal ideation upon realizing the limitations of this reality. Yet from collapse often sprouts new growth. While the failure may deeply challenge certain segments of spiritual movements, seekers on the whole may become less dogmatic to assign dates, instead focusing more intently on inner journeying. External prophecy gives way to internal revelations. And enlightened teachings endure as faithful adherents emerge from the ashes, refined and further resistant to discouragement. Regardless, many supporters remain stalwart. The alarm has been sounded, awakening is dawning. 2024 still marks a turning point, with more people now open to spiritual realities once confined to the mystical fringe. The seeds planted will continue ripening towards a future harvest date, known only in divine timing. As chatter and anticipation builds around a consciousness shift possibly hitting critical mass in 2024, how should truth seekers best prepare for this hypothetical event? Mystics argue the inner journey must balance the outer focus when navigating these transitionary times. Grounding starts with letting go of fear-based thinking and leaning into higher vibrational states marked by unconditional love, radical forgiveness, transcendent hope, and unity consciousness. Establishing regular meditation forms a crucial channel for downloading cosmic energies and attuning to subtle personal guideposts. Time in nature and bonding with Earth's electromagnetic fields nurtures energetic alignment with predicted planetary transitions. Of equal importance is insulating one's mental space and information diet. Social media algorithms drowned in mainstream propaganda can distort perceptions of personal revelation. Consciously examining confirmation biases shaping one's worldview creates clarity on where the mind may be misleading, on both sides of any issue. This clears space for clearer inward signals pointing to underlying truths. Limiting consumption of sensationalist media reporting can help still mental turbulence and better hear these inner wisdom transmissions. While some adhere to Cannon's specific 2024 timeline, perhaps the wisest approach involves embracing reality exactly as it unfolds moment to moment. Rather than overfixating on dates, one opens themselves to accelerate positive personal and collective development in any era, from wherever they stand in the eternal now. For seekers ready to drink from the fire hose, tuning into the perfection of the present allows one to stoke civilization's shift through our unique cosmic assignment. Of course, no matter what 2024 brings into, or out of, focus, there is value in shoring up supportive communities who hold space for growth and anchor in the fundamentals of well-being. Maintaining healthy relationships and purposeful work fuels the self-actualized self. and compassionate living lights the path home, wherever the journey leads. While some adhere to specific predicted timelines, the wisest approach may be embracing reality exactly as it unfolds moment to moment. Rather than fixating on dates, we open ourselves to accelerate positive development in any era, from wherever we stand. The ultimate preparation is dedicating to spiritual growth and uplifting society for the good of all people.